Alright, hello and good morning everybody. Welcome to another BaseTradeTV broadcast. We're going to be doing the Temporary Team League, which, despite all of my hard work and planning, I only realized this morning we should have called the Temporary League. But either way, first match is actually going to be a really good one. We've actually got quite a few good players, and I don't think any of these matches are actually too poorly matched up. There's like one I think that's a little bit one-sided. I'll let you guys be the judge of which one you think that is. But today kicks off with uThermal versus Elazer for Team Ting versus Team Yord.
That's correct.
How are you doing this morning, Zombie Grub? I see your hair is wonderfully reblonded.
Yes, it is.
I also have an excellent amount of sunlight on my face. If you guys can see, right about here's the cutoff where the window is. So I look extra super pale. Fantastic.
Nailed it. How are we doing, Vito's? Am I flipping a coin?
Yeah, coin flip down to
Okay.
the 3 and then pick. But, so yeah, to explain the format for those who don't know what's going on, first off, there is a Team Liquid post. I guess, what do we put as the brackets command? Maybe I'll do like that. Edit command brackets with the Team Liquid thing. There you go. So by the time, the stream delay, by the time you hear this, typing exclamation mark brackets or exclamation mark bracket in chat will, wait, why didn't I update the other one? Excuse me. Exclamation mark brackets will take you to the page where you can see all the players playing. Now, is that a dog in your background or mine? I honestly don't know. That's yours.
That is mine.
Yeah. But anyways, so Team Ting versus Team Yord. It was blind pick send outs. These are going to be best of 3 matches. Each team is a best of 3 overall in score. So for example, if Team Ting were to take the first 2 best of 3s, then the third match of Semper versus BaseTradeTV won't even play out. That sort of thing. So again, blind picks into it. They had no idea who was going to be playing against whom until after I had posted it. So the lineups ended up being not bad. Again, Thermal versus Elazer, Bly versus Lambo, Semper versus Beastie, Puck versus Fear, Peely Peely versus Major, and Panda Bear Me versus Cats. The only thing we're going to have to dance around, I think, actually with Puck and Fear is server. So I told them we could coin flip if that ends up being too difficult. Semper and Beastie as well if that is the case. But should be some pretty good games. So this will go straight up into what is going to be the Kespa Cup qualifiers. Now, I will tell you guys ahead of time, Panda Bear Me and Cats and Peely Peely and Major are going to be cast from replays. We tried to minimize how many replays we would have for this, but the reason is they weren't quite sure if this would accidentally go long and possibly jeopardize their attempt to play in the North American Kespa Cup qualifier, which is happening tonight. So, those 2 will be done through replays. Everything else should be live. That being said, Zomgrab, I believe, is doing videos with them as we speak, and there's no super outstanding extra big reason for doing this. We just wanted to have some fun with the Team League, and we figured, like, well, it's already a headache enough dealing with teams and this, that, and the other, so we made our own version, and thus the temporary version with our own sponsors featured and whatnot. Riff is alive, says chat. Yes, I am, believe it or not, pale as I may be.
Yeah, some people still not sure that it's a best of 3.
Well,
But now we got it covered.
I did message them all about it, so that's on them.
That's their bad.
Yeah. Aside from this, just talking a little bit about the Kespa Cup qualifiers, since I did mention them moments ago. About 20 minutes ago, I got messaged and asked to cast them. My answer is still the same, though. I didn't want to cast if it was going to cost us money. They said, well, we're not going to do revenue share. We just don't actually have anything really ready to go. We're kind of last-minuting it. So I think they've just opened the door to everybody. From what I understand is like the NA qualifiers starting to be covered by at least Wardy. I don't know who else will be on board for that. Zombie won't be here past 3 p.m. I think that's 5 hours from now, though. So even if we were to cast them, it would mean a Rifkin solo cast, which 99% of the time I don't mind, but I'm still a little bit sick. So I may not do tonight's qualifiers, but I did put a poll up on Twitter seeing if you guys wanted us to cover tomorrow's, because if that's the case, we'll have to move the Team League stuff out one day, and we won't be able to have our finals on a weekend like we had originally hoped to do. But,
Yeah,
It'll be what it will be. Let's see what ends up being the case. We are live though, so getting into this first game of the day. It's on the new patch 2, which I don't think affected much for multiplayer, did it? It was mostly a co-op patch, a big old co-op patch.
It didn't affect multiplayer at all.
Cool.
Hey, we're ready to go.
All right, well, I'm good whenever they are. Speaking of the patch and whatnot, if you guys haven't seen on our YouTube channel, so shout out to youtube.com/BaseTradeTV, did upload some of the new patch exploration stuff. We kind of broke the game a little bit yesterday and discovered a lot of bugs, so yay.
Yo! I discovered one after you left, and I kept on playing Alarak.
Oh no,
so
what happened?
I kind of like had an experience when I played with you, but I just didn't mind it. I was like, oh, one mistake is not a big deal. But then I kept building in a similar fashion, and the probe would actually not build something because it would try and go behind the pylon where Alarak was, and then it'd be like, oh, I can't because Alarak's in the way, and then it'd go back to mining. It was like a Broodor bug straight up. Like I couldn't build in a certain way. It just had to go around the pylon.
You know,
it just wouldn't.
It wasn't a bug. It's a Tal'Darim probe. They're like uppity and mad, and they're like, you know what? If you're not gonna give me an easy path, I'm not gonna waste my time trying to build this shit. Like, hello.
Oh, I did that so many times.
Well, let's hop into the game. You guys heard the beeps. That means the game is starting up. There's a quick glimpse at the lobby. Again, reaffirming that it's live. Are you able to shut your door, maybe?
I can get the dog to go, because unfortunately my door's already shut.
Oh. Well, you know, we asked if the patch is going to affect multiplayer. I saw a Reddit post on this. Apparently it does, as it does mess with the clan tags. So there you guys have it. Alt and for Elazer. Anyways, yeah, it's Team Ting versus Team Yord. Spawning here on the top left side of the map, it is going to be the blue Terran player. Recently joining Team Liquid, real team hype, it's uThermal. He is, of course, playing for Team Ting, because the blue matches really well. Spawning in the upper right side, we do have the yellow Zerg player from Team Extreme Supremacy, but representing the temporary team of Yord, it's Elazer. And before we get too far into this, I should probably tweet and tag some sponsors with this. Not that I think they're super keen on like knowing whether these games are being played out or not, but it is worth noting for those who weren't here for the selection process, we had recruited a pool of about 18 to 20 players, passed those names on to the... I'll let him finish. Passed those names along to the sponsors, and we basically did like a schoolyard pick. Line them up against the wall. Each team got to pick like their favorite player first, and second, and third, and so forth and so forth. So some of these teams honestly aren't too badly proportioned. There's a bit of racial imbalance, for example. No Protoss on either of the two teams playing right now, but overall and generally speaking, not too bad of a spread. Also, the score here is going to be representing the score between the two teams. The score down here will represent the score between the two players in each of these best-of-3 matches.
Clever. Okay. That should be taken care of. Took care of the dogs.
You didn't kill him, did you?
Was no.
That wasn't like you poisoned it, and that's why it took a few extra seconds, right?
Like... no. I think my dad just put him in the basement. Yeah, unfortunately, Clash is very calm. But his younger brother, Hilt, is actually, I'm pretty sure, brain damaged and is not calm and will just constantly yip all the time.
So super not chill.
My brother is staying with us with the dogs for the next 2 days before they move. So that's a
thing is what that is. All right, well, hopefully it won't be too problematic.
Yeah, hopefully not. Anyway, what's happening in this game? Not too much, to be honest. It is Frost, I suppose, and you have 2-1-1.
Well, I was going to mention, if uThermal doesn't open with proxy barracks, it's not going to be too eventful of a game, I feel.
Usually not. I mean, sometimes we see a couple of Terrans that are out, like, factory-based builds, but uThermal going for the 2-1-1, I think, makes a lot of sense. It's a pretty good standard build, and yeah, he is the type of guy that can do, like, tricky stuff, but it's not that I think of uThermal as like a tricky guy. I mean, obviously 3 racks is a lot, right? But it's that I actually imagine him either as Reapers, because of the 3 racks, or tanks, in some form. So like he's the one that does the King Sejong tank pushes. He did the Frozen Temple tank push all the time back when it was popular. And on Frost horizontal spawn, you can follow the 2-1-1 up with a tank push as well, which he might be looking for. He might also just be playing a regular TvZ in the third CC. Only time will tell, because, I mean, truly, he could abuse Frost. This third base Elazer is taking, it could be tricky to defend if you let tanks get too close to it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the whole tank thing, too. I mean, whether it's more regular play or the unsieged frustration that we saw versus Ultralisks, just that kind of like, how do I even, I guess I'll try anything, will this work? I will say, for the sake of things, uThermal has been the most, I don't even know how to phrase this correctly, like, he's made the most distance this year. Where, like, at the start of the year, he wasn't a bad player. There's no point in his career I think we've ever referred to him as a bad player, but he wasn't, like, that top player we would talk about. Yeah. Then he won a couple of tournaments, now he's on Team Liquid. Sure, he's still got his shortcomings, and he's not perfect, but he's a much better player now than he was certainly back in January. And
I agree.
One of the things I've liked for that, though, in referencing back just a moment to that small tank joke, is he has actually been willing to experiment a little bit here and there. Bringing out mech once in a blue moon, throwing out standard builds as we see, like more Beyond style, double medevac drops going out, or the frustration of tanks and other things. Like, and I think that's really helped him a lot, whereas other players get stuck just trying to play the same thing over and over and over again, and yes, it beats the Masters players, but it doesn't beat the Grandmasters players.
I remember a time when Daishi was considered actually even much better than uThermal.
Daishi was like the best Terran in Europe for a summer.
He was, yeah. uThermal was kind of like that little kid, I suppose, that was following in his footsteps in a way, but usually falling behind. In this matchup specifically, which has now become his best matchup for sure. Drop, I guess the location at which it dropped is a little bit surprising for Elazer, because the Lings were ready, but they just had to get over here, and this might be able to snipe a Queen, but that would be pretty dangerous with 4 of them. Target firing a medevac. This is also pretty dangerous going into a natural like this, but I guess he knows where the Queens are, and that's kind of the most important thing. As long as he keeps his medevacs alive, he can pick up the Marines if Lings come following him.
This isn't like when we watched Chan Kim over the weekend surprise Beyond with a bunch of Queens and kill his medevacs. uThermal is, for the most part, taking relatively no damage to low damage on them, so it's not bad. Catching the Queens off of creep, though, is kind of a big deal, and there's no transfuses for it, so the first Queen goes down, the second one almost gets low, transfuse at the very last second. He'll pull back and unload into Lings, a bit of a mistake, but still, he pounced on that opportunity, and that was nicely done. We got 2 more medevacs heading out, and the question now kind of looks like, uThermal, are you going for a big consolidated push? Because this is where we normally start seeing split drops, some in the main, some in the third, that sort of a deal, but all of his medevacs are starting to clump up, and maybe he's just going to go for one big push as his 1-1 and combat shields times out here in just a moment.
Yeah, it can be a big surprise for the Zerg players expecting multiple drops. They don't, I mean, Elazer does not have his Baneling.
Look at this, he just gets the mineral lines.
Yeah, something like this behind the mineral lines is not something that Lings can take on, and his upgrades will be faster.
You know what, worse than the third, this is where the Baneling nest is. If he gets a focus fire on top of these Lings, he kills them, he won't have to worry about Banelings. Only 5 morphing in as we speak. Queen's trying to get some fire on the left side, but the medevac's pulled to the right. Nothing to shoot them. GG, uThermal wins game number 1. I want to almost call that a quick victory, but we'll coin flip. But yeah, that was really well done out of uThermal. I was surprised by the split push. Obviously, Elazer a little bit was as well, but I expected him to do like multiple drops and start dancing all over the map. I wasn't ready for him to just win the game. Yeah. We see that same tactic from Beyond a couple of times for sure, where it's like, okay, this is a decision to be made here. Do you keep dropping, and you might still win because they're just going to get fed up, or do you go for a main push, which, yeah, obviously Elazer wasn't expecting for one reason or another, or maybe he just accidentally forgot for a second while he was defending and was like, oh shit, my Baneling nest is late, because really, I mean, you saw either he gets on top of the army from the get-go, or he has Banelings to get behind the mineral lines. Without Banelings in that mineral line, that would almost always be game. No matter how many Lings you had. Well, gonna hop into game number 2 on Galactic Process. This is a map where it's gonna be really unfortunate if you take that first loss as a Elazer, and then you gotta follow it up with what is likely Reapers out of uThermal. At the same time, uThermal might say, nah, that's too predictable. I'm not gonna dick around with that. Either way, spawning in the top right side of the map, he's up 1 game. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the blue Terran, uThermal.
In the bottom left, as the yellow Zerg, he's Elazer.
Alright, so for Elazer's sake, that was a rough game. And doesn't make him look good if it's the first time you've ever seen Elazer. But we've seen Elazer a lot, and more importantly, in the finals of most of the weekly cups we cast. So, one bad game does not a series make.
That's true, yeah. We know Elazer can stand up against uThermal, but uThermal's really been, I feel, on a TvZ hot streak, and his last tournament, Mexico, he didn't get very far, but that was a lot because he didn't keep on facing Zergs. If he's facing a Zerg, he usually wins.
Yo, uThermal, we kind of had that joke at the start. He made the tweet about the bomb defusal thing, but the best was that one game you disconnected, and I was literally counting down the upgrade finishing for chitinous plating, and he won the game as, like, the second chitinous plating completed, he had killed all the Ultralisks.
Interesting.
And I posted that clip, and he tweeted at me afterwards saying, like, I didn't even realize how close that was type thing. Like, he is a lot better at this matchup than the accidental, oops, there's ultras, what do I do player that he used to be. Again, just speaking higher and higher on how far he's come this year as a player.
So it looks like uThermal might have wanted to go for a second Rax. He had a second SCV in the location, but kind of decided not to since there was a drone scouting, I guess. Which is kind of odd because, you know, a lot of times uThermal will just do it anyway, and regardless if they blind counter him or not, there's not really a hard counter. Like, they can blindly go for a pool first, or even a Roach Horn, and then cancel it once they see that it's not a 3 Rax, but it still doesn't mean much against uThermal.
While I don't know for certain whether there had been the intention of more barracks or not, one thing for certain, though, was the unconventional drone scout made it worthwhile for Elazer. Not just because of, yes, there may have been, but also because it's galactic process, and statistically, you're probably going to fight against those barracks. So, checking for it, seeing it early, getting that early scout, and possibly even killing the SCV. I mean, he almost killed the SCV, right? Like, there's a lot of good reasons to have scouted with that drone when normally everyone would argue it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, if that was like a cool little trick from uThermal to try and get like the fake out on the 3 Racks, like, oh, the drone saw my SCV but nothing else, that would have been a cool attempt. But Elazer was there for far too long with that drone, as you said, almost killing the SCV. Actually gets a drone right there, which is not supposed to happen, technically.
No, he built canceled one, and the other one, I think, was trying to, but got blocked out by the other drone. So, not the end of the world to lose a single drone so far. The build cancel is also a little annoying, but what else? Reaper's still being alive, though. This is something that should be dealt with. Another build cancel out of Elazer.
Yeah, that speed's still not kicking in. About 10 more seconds, and, you know, at a certain point, as a Terran player, just going to be like, okay, they're going to have speed. But, yeah, getting one drone kill, almost a second one. Getting 2 would have been really quite amazing, actually, with this a single Reaper, but doesn't. And Elazer can now feel confident and comfortable going for a macro game. Has he gotten a secondary scout? I don't think so, not yet. Seems like his second Overlord took a little bit of damage, but the Overlord off to the left has not gone into scout quite yet. So he does not know that it's another 2-1-1 build. Again, you can guess, but against uThermal, I feel like it's not the 100% that it would be like Bjorn, right? Like, if you don't want to scout Bjorn, fine, because he's probably going for this build. uThermal does have tank builds and Hellbat all-ins and whatnot that he can do. So this scout sees as much as it really needs to. It sees timing on the starport. It doesn't even have to go in further.
Interesting choice out of Elazer, by the way. He neglected going for Overlord speed quickly to do the Overlord sacrifice. I always think 10 out of 10 every time the speed upgrade's worth it, but if he was doing it to the chagrin of getting like a faster layer, or I guess if he's going to invest in double upgrades, he'll need all the gas possible, but I don't know, fast 1-1 versus like scouting information against a player like uThermal, I think scouting information takes the priority, no?
Against uThermal?
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, like knowing where his army is, not necessarily about, like, you know, at this point he knows what build he's doing, but I don't know. Elazer feels comfortable doing this, though, so whatever. Actually, bring down the rocks pretty early. Yeah, I suppose that's where he's gonna take the 4th base.
Well, that, or maybe just open up more attack paths. Either way,
true.
Why not? You're not doing much to the Lings anyways. Double medevac drops starting to head out. Those will probably head down to the 3rd. They'll see all the queens there and go straight on into the main. And unfortunately, Elazer will Well, he is getting 1-1, and that's nice. Once again, doesn't have Banelings, and I'm worried that this will look similar to that first game.
Yeah. Well, you know, his Baneling nest really was just like 15 seconds off from, you know, finishing and him being able to morph in Banelings. So, yeah, I was going to say, if he gets it like that much sooner, then he should be fine. Because, of course, remember that attack came with 2 more Medivacs and 1-1 in combat shields.
Almost hit the second Overlord. That would have been a nasty supply block. I mean, it's already a supply block, but...
Yeah. Kind of gave up the option of clearing up creep to do that, but I feel like chances are he's going to get another shot at it. It's only 1 creep tumor after all, so 1 scan will clean up quite a bit of it. Oh, I spoke too soon. Elazer's planting down more. Oh, he clears up this creep. This almost seems unnecessary, and I feel like for a lot of like mid-tier Terrans it would be. But uThermal is very good about hitting this specific point, whether it's with Reapers or his double medevac drop.
Well, unfortunately, while I did choose to focus on the medevacs, the Lings all gone out of the Marines. But they're so low, the Queens might just be able to finish the job. There's maybe going to be 1 or 2 Queen losses here, but oh, they're also not all fighting. Small mistake made there. 10 drones go down for it. Yeah,
11 get that last one at the last second, so that was totally worth the death of 2 medevacs. I mean, I guess you could kind of argue, depending on uThermal's game plan, it's not worth, but considering he's going for a 3rd CC on location, he's got double upgrades. In a macro game, I think that 60 Marines and 2 medevacs is worth however many Lings he got, and 11 drones.
As long as it prevents a counterattack. If you lose too much and there's that immediate counterattack, you're going to feel real bad, but you're right, he did kill enough of the army to justify it. Now,
yeah,
as
there's the clear up.
Yeah, and as he continues to push to clear, I mean, it's nothing too dedicated. He can still pull back from this. Elazer still doesn't really have any Banelings out. He was just running for a little bit, trying to get that working count back up from the losses earlier. Loses a lot more Lings here. Still, like, 1 or 2 Banelings could be a world of difference, either soaking up the Marine fire through focus fire, or just getting a hit off.
I would agree, yeah. If he just had gotten like, well, unfortunately you can never get like 2, right, to deal with that attack that just killed 11 drones. You'd have to get like 6 so they can't focus fire. But still, getting 6 defensive Banelings kind of used to be the norm for Zerg, even in the heart of the swarm, you know, just in case something would happen. And Elazer missing that for some time has cost him the drone line as well as a lot of creep.
Okay, I like that he's getting the Spore Crawlers down, so these Liberators shouldn't be too bad to deal with. They're going to be annoying, but as long as he's paying attention, he should be able to deal with it. So yeah, Queen's going to be in position here too.
I was going to say, he could have put 2 on 1 location and then made it so the Queen couldn't help. He kind of was planning on, and then unfortunately thought about too late, I'm going to guess. Still getting something, getting Larva. I mean, gets an Overlord right there. Almost gets the Queen. Yeah, not super worth for 2 Liberators.
Attack up here to the north, though. Once again, Elazer just distracted by uThermal. I mean, you're right. Like, he might not be devastating with those Liberators, but if it draws his attention away so he can get drops off like this, not bad. 6 drones go down. Spore Crawler not going to get that medevac just yet. Still, Banelings over here ready to catch this drop. Picks up right away. No chance. No chance.
Sacrificial Marine, though. Poor guy.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's not a great feeling, but it feels good still nonetheless when you unload 1 Marine at a time and you like soak up those Banelings. You're like, yeah, you take that.
I love when you do it on accident and you're like, yeah, I'm fancy.
Sure.
Shut up. I got a Ling, not a counterattack, but what could open up to be a counterattack later on. A lot of players don't look at this, but actually uThermal has 2 Marines over there. They just can't see the damn Lings.
Yeah, but you see the rocks going down, which is a pretty big deal. So 2 medevacs going to come on over. I do want to point out Infestation Pit was thrown down, so I mean, we're going to wait and see if he pushes out that Hive button.
Hive button.
Or pushes in, pushes it, whatever. Hit Hive. But still dancing around a lot of harass. The thing though, uThermal's harass has really started to fall off. Like his best attack was that very first one, and these follow-up ones are starting to give away some of the medevacs, starting to give away some of the Marines. Nothing close to devastating yet, but you know, it's 2/2 Lings are going to deal with these drops relatively well when normally they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And of course, once this attack breaks that wall, there's a lot of SCVs that might just go down. uThermal knew this was there. I guess he just assumed Elazer had fully pulled back. So gets in there and gets about 7 kills. Should probably pull back, though. Doesn't want to get too much for that. Other side of the map, push into that natural base. Overlord's trying to get focused right away. Baneling's going to try and roll on in, but that positioning between the Evo chambers going to work against Elazer in such a bad way.
He just barely got that last Baneling, and oh my god, this is so crappy for the Lings. Finally, more reinforcements come in. And he'll have to need to pick up. Okay, he's not going to pick up. I guess he's dealing something else. There we go. Last 3 Marines. The counterattack actually gets cleared up for uThermal here, and that's really nice. Elazer, I think, had to bring back a portion of those lings and wanted to get a freebie, but was unable to find it. His hive is almost done, and he's on 4 bases. This is the problem of dedicating a little too much to those drops. As you were talking about, they haven't really been working so well. Even though there, with like the good positioning, only took away lings, and Elazer's on a good enough drone count to continue producing lings. So he probably should have bulked up maybe a minute or 2 sooner, or not dedicated it with the drops at that time.
Big shoutouts to Dakota Pearl. Thank you for that new sub hype. Good way to kick off the cast today. 13 more Bantlings on the way. I mean, we're still nothing close to Hive Tech. We're nothing close to Ultra. Still dancing around the map the way we are. This side of the map not looking too bad on this way.
The Winamines just got amazing ling hits because Elazer, I think he wanted to scoot away from them, but then like missed.
Look at that focus fire.
Like, I'm not even sure. 11, 1, 10. So like 25 lings went down there. Anyways, there was enough to deal with it, but yeah, Elazer was kind of scared to deal with it quickly.
Oh, we got the graphs mod. We can talk about this as well. Elazer, as scrappy as this has been for him, and I mean, that fight, not hot, let's be honest. He was pushing off workers off that third. Mules weren't being dropped. uThermal really dipped in income for a full 2 minutes just because of his minor harassment. Now, the problem is, it may still have been too much. Like, as good as that was out of Elazer, he's now sitting at a point where he's on his way to Ultras. Lings are coming out, sure, but that's the only thing he really has coming out. And constantly pushing back this bio is becoming tougher and tougher for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that one defense, they really took it out of him. He didn't clean it up really that quickly, and of course his Winamines got better hits than they should have. They were like entirely away from the army.
Once again,
he's trying to buy a lot of time though. He does have a big bank. You know, like once he can get to Ultras, he'll get quite a few of them.
It's not even just that, but like comparatively, he has a big bank. And again, a lot of that comes back to the fact that he's constantly pulling SCVs away from this base. uThermal can't mine.
Oh, Jesus.
They don't have speed. These Overlords have to be saved.
That was kind of scary. Those were all Marines. 3 of them would have been down already.
I am worried at how Elazer is going to approach the Liberators. Well, normally these aren't that great. There's no Ravagers out. I don't think even it's a Roach Warren.
He's trying to get more Queens right now, but if he lets them siege up on a ramp here, and if uThermal could just continue reinforcing, which he has been unable to because of those counterattacks, he'll find it very hard to deal with them. One Queen for 1 Liberator there.
I think he identified that was going to be a problem too with the anti-air. I mean, he rushed in with those medevacs and dropped explicitly on top of the Queens.
Yeah. Well, he is trying to reinforce now, but it's a little bit awkward though. Like those counterattacks, besides also getting rid of the SCVs and getting them to pull up the mining, has also just been keeping relentless pressure not so relentless. And now this is going to get cleaned up, even though these ultras do not have plating.
Yeah, this.
Although okay, maybe you should not continue attacking here.
No, he shouldn't. But I was going to say really quick, this is where the downside of mules starts shining through. Because uThermal's been muling so hard this game, his natural's pretty much mined out, his main's absolutely gone. He's only going to have this 1 base worth of economy, and while he's been trading out decently up to this point, Elazer reestablishes his 4th, he's still comfortably mining, he's not in a bad spot at all.
I was going to say there was a really cool trick with the changeling wall that almost occurred, but it didn't really work out, but that was cool, Elazer, I noticed it. Yeah, I mean, all good points, but Elazer still has to deal with these Liberators, which he is actually dealing with the Queens. Just 2 Liberators without the range, unable to actually take them down before they go down. And he really needs those Liberators to help out here. Focus Fire is good. He does have 3-3.
He can't heal a Stim Bio.
That's a great point. Otherwise, these 2 Ultras would probably be free, even though they have a lot of armor.
Yeah, I mean, as we can see, the Focus Fire and the running away wasn't too bad at all out of uThermal. Winamine still proving to be a problem even this late into the game, but the Overseers he made earlier were picked off. Again, no Overlord speed, really making it hard to maneuver and keep these units alive. Shout out to this Overlord, by the way, which was the first thing to take damage this game, but the longest living thing in the game so far.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that Winamine hit just
nice.
cleared out all the Lings, which means the other ones are free to hit the Ultralisk and the rest of the Lings.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, well, there's the rest of the army. I was like, where's the army? Drop here is going to be able to get this hatchery. The Liberators aren't cleaned up on the other side.
Okay, I was curious whether it would actually get it or not, because like with the Lings coming in and everything being so low, maybe that wouldn't have gone like that.
Well, the Ultras covering at this point would not be a bad idea. Plating is done, yeah, but he's dealing with 1 or 2 Ultras at a time.
He should be okay to hold this.
Oh yeah, he cleaned it up.
I mean, dancing outside of the Liberators, fights go in the favor of Elazer. Having to fight within Liberators, it's always going to go for uThermal. Elazer still doesn't have a reliable way to deal with said Liberators, but the nice thing for both sides of this is while Ultras are really expensive on one side, so are Liberators on the other.
I love that he can't afford medevacs. Oh, he can't afford time for his medevacs. He's trying to build too many Liberators, so he's just like running in here with no medevacs at all.
I mean, the argument though is that he does need Liberators more than medevacs, I'd say. The Ultras are a bigger problem than his own stimming.
It is a very tough decision to make, because either you're taking down Ultras with small groups of units, or you're dropping with small groups of units. Like, either way could be buying you a lot of time and could be sniping important things like bases and drones. As he gets his own economy back up, because he's finally transferred his main command center over. Oh, another base.
I gotta give it to uThermal. He is making the most out of a little. And I really mean that when I say that. I mean, he's got empty medevacs, he's got no medevacs, his army supply is low, but he still takes the series 2-0.
Yeah. One of the biggest problems that we didn't really get to highlight until the end there was that Elazer couldn't get gas. When his third base went down, his gas went down. He never took his gases on the fourth that was being sieged up, and he never took the gases on the one that just died.
Good points. Well, that 2-0 is going to give Ting a 1-point score on the board. So congratulations to them. Next up, we're going to have Bly versus Lambo in a ZVZ. We're even ahead. I was even a little bit fast with the schedule, and even then we're still ahead of schedule, so that's nice, I guess.
Nailed it.
So we're going to go to commercial break, guys. I do want to point out before we go to ads, though, that all of our sponsors do have some sort of deal available through BaseTradeTV. So if you're, for example, looking for a new phone bill, I think somebody just tweeted on to the BaseTradeTV account. In fact, I'm going to go find this tweet. Exactly. There we go. Smelly Danielle 1. It says, last month's Ting bill was $20.55. How lovely. Yeah, Ting is really great. If you guys want to learn more about Ting, go to bttv.ting.com. You can get phone bills, unfortunately, for cheap. Unfortunately, it is only available to the United States, and only the United States, but still worth checking out. Yord has some very lovely watches, which you can get on cheap, usually a lot cheaper around holiday times. But with them, we are building a prize pool to another really fun tournament, so looking forward to that. That being said, though, commercial break. We'll see you guys in 2 minutes with the next series.